Hey guys, welcome to the show before the show. Good Thursday morning, August 10th. We're just finishing up our final portions of the show. Good morning to everybody as we get this stuff ready. Viewer Ben from Wenty's,
Ben,
my great friend, reminded me this morning. And I know we have some people who do this because they've told us, just saying that, hey, did you know that you can stream from your TV as well?
Yes.
Roku, Fire, Chromecast, etc.
Yeah, if you have
any
any
smart
one
TV.
of the apps. Yeah, any smart TV. If you have YouTube, you can go right up to that.
Watch us on the big screen.
Yes. Several people do watch us on the big screen. We've done that.
Can you interact on the big screen on a smart TV as well?
You still have to have your phone or computer to you can't do it.
Totally committed.
Yes. Yes. We've done that before. We've turned it on like when the kids be like, "What'd you do?" And they see us and it's a little bizarre for my granddaughter.
Karen, good morning to you. You celebrate your last year in your 50s.
Woo!
So for the show, good morning to you. Happy birthday.
The 50s are the best, Karen.
They are?
Yeah. You know why the 50s are great is because you still don't look like you're that old and you don't give a crap what anybody really thinks anymore. And you know how your kids are going to be. And it's just, I love my 50s. Probably my favorite decade. Love
so you're
it.
saying there's hope. You're saying there's a chance for
it. The best is yet to come when you hit 50.
I remember when 50 was like freaking old.
Didn't it? It seemed like, oh my God, you were next to the grave. 50, now it's just young.
50 is not the new 40. I like to say 50 is the new 30.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Right? Of course it is.
Of course.
Let's see here. We got that going.
See, even Sherry says, good morning. Yes, Lizzie, 50s are the best.
Mm-hmm.
True, Lizzie, but take me back to the 30s. Well, I agree. I mean, I would like to be 30s, but I don't want to go through some of the things that I knew I would have to be going through with less knowledge. But yeah, I'd like to look like I was 30.
Yeah, of course. Oh, shoot. Sorry, Liz. I gotta go get my notepad.
All right. Your yellow notepad is sitting on the little table out there in the Carroll House Lounge. Ding. Ding dong. The show before the show. You can always tell when you're here.
I know. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I've got my chair in the car. I just forgot to bring it in.
Yeah.
I was running behind this morning.
I think we all were. It's my daughter's.
If you get bored, Joe, you can go out, open up the back. It's in like the trunk area.
You're going to get bored this morning, I'm sure.
Okay, I can't say the name, and I know people will be like, "Oh, why can't you do this? Why you shouldn't do that?" I was told by a listener of ours, a very loyal listener,
yes,
that if people get banned, that they should have an opportunity to come back.
You mean get banned off of a platform?
Like for example, if we kick somebody off, which we've done.
Oh, so we've only kicked off one.
Yeah.
And I felt guilty about it because the name of our show is Cancel This, but he purposely kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And you can't talk about the things that he's talking about because getting banned, we would have gotten banned or more shadow banned, I should say.
Maybe not because he's such a liberal Democrat.
Well, isn't that the truth? Yeah, he can probably say it.
It's like, hey, we'll lead up on those guys.
But I gave him warning after warning after warning.
I said, I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Right. I mean, maybe we should give that to a vote because most of our listeners were like, get him out of here.
Oh, our listeners and viewers would say, hell no.
Yeah. I mean, they were so tired of it.
I have a heart, as you know.
I do too. That's why I had such guilt
I know
in
you did.
doing it. I mean,
know.
because I don't want to be the banner. I don't want to do that. But he just kept crossing the line. And I want liberal Democrats to come and talk to
Of course
us.
we do.
For sure. So I feel really bad. Now, maybe if he, signed a contract that he couldn't say this, 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 and this, and then if he did any wells, he gave the show $100,000, we'll let him come back. What do you think about that? Think about that. Well, that could be what we're going to do.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen.
It isn't going to happen. And I understand him not, feeling bad that he can't be on the show because our listeners and the whole show is just so great. So I get why he wants to be here. And I know he's the most mad at me because he said until I came, he didn't get banned. He could say whatever he wanted. So I'm the big bad meanie. But it is what it is.
Hey guys, we got John Rourke, Great American Cleanup, coming up at 8:15. We'll promote that. This is the show before the show. Sad, crazy what's happening over in Hawaii too.
Yes.
But once again, all these news reporters are missing, and the media's missing the biggest point where all of the attention should be. They're not giving the most important fact. Do you know what that is? You know what that is?
What is it? What is the most important fact? The truth?
Well, how the fire started.
Right. They're not saying that at all.
Nobody
wants to talk about that.
Of course, the conditions in Hawaii are perfect for a massive storm. They're perfect with a hurricane that is somewhat nearby with winds that whip it up.
Yes. Yes.
Of course, it's dry, but there's never talk of how it starts, just like with the Canadian wildfires. And of course, the video that we showed you from weather video, which showed, 17 or 18, maybe 19 fires beginning all at the same time, hundreds of miles apart.
Yes, absolutely. You know what they're saying about our band, our one band person? Several of our listeners, Trisha, who else was it? Karen, said that he can come back if he comes into the show and we get to see him. No more anonymous. I'm all for, giving the show some sponsorship money. However, if that can't be done, we don't need to be greedy about it. But you know what? I'm going to take their advice. So when he texts you again about Lizzie being the big bad meanie, Lizzie's job is to listen to the listeners. That's my number one job. And so they're telling me that he can come back if he comes into the studio, and they're tired of the anonymous.
He's not coming in the studio.
Well, that's his choice. So that's what you tell him. The listeners will allow him to do. That if he comes in, then he can not be banned.
We'll talk about it. Angie says, Vic, regarding the Hawaii situation, how can a tree burn from the inside out?
Right?
Also, Oprah has a ranch there. I'm sorry, my conspiracy. I know it's Friday Eve. It's conspiracy theory Eve, but man, when you look at all the things Oprah's been attached to, is there evidence there? Is her ranch being burned down? Ben just texted in and said, live on TV looks awesome. Good. We appreciate it, Ben.
Ben is watching us on the big screen. You know what Ben needs to do?
Hi, Lois. Good morning.
I'm telling everybody what to do today, and nobody will listen, but that's okay. We can go to Wendy's and eat our chicken wings, and he can have us playing on the big screen there, too. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, you could. 100%. All right, Joe, let's get started, if that's cool. Hey guys, welcome into cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust. Lizzie Sparks alongside Pro Joe, running the boards as always. Happy Thursday, August 10th edition of the Cancel This podcast. Of course, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central Time and all the time on our site. Check out our old sites as well. Cancelthisshow.com. Always trying to bring you the best interviews that we possibly can, bringing you the best information when it comes to all the stories and all the angles that we possibly can. That's why the show's become popular as it has. Recently celebrated our millionth view in the 7 months that we've been here. Grateful for that. Thanks for all of our partners who sponsor and the advertisers who are jumping in as well. Coming up on the show today, we'll get him in here. Since he's ready to rock and roll, we'll get him in here soon. Probably best to bring John Rourke in. Great American Cleanup. He's been all over the place, which he always does. Also coming up, he's going to talk about what's actually happening at the border again. He was a terrific guest, and we had him back in June. Grateful that he's given us some of his time today. I also want to promote his business. If anybody is using a moving service anywhere where he is, please use them. Please use John, especially when you find out more about what he does and is trying to do for people in this country, specifically veterans and people down on the border towns. Massachusetts officials asking residents, hey, be kind. Lend a helping hand. Why don't you give up some of your space for some of these illegals? Can't make the shit up. It's happening. Another populist candidate, if you will, around the country, murdered at a campaign stop. If you don't go with the flow, you can be murdered and or jailed. Some of that I'll show you some of who and what is happening with that across the world. How about a Texas elementary school teacher bragging that she wanted her sister's white boyfriend dead?
That's craziness.
Yeah. She got fired for that.
Well, good.
She's African-American. Mm-hmm. She's a teacher or was a teacher. I don't know.
It depends on why. I mean, maybe she just called him.
She bragged on being racist.
Oh, well, that changes it. Maybe you want him dead because he abused your sister.
Another bad Biden moment yesterday. And Cory Bush, she should not be in office. And I'm sorry. I'm tired of her playing the race card. Of course, on the anniversary of Michael Brown's death yesterday, she was playing the race card, blaming whites for him being dead. And because this country's racist is why he's dead. When you try to play the race card, when you try to use it for your own advantage and you neglect truth, facts, Obama DOJ report, then that's on you. You're just trying to, basically what you're doing is you're telling people they're stupid, and that's sad. Anyway, that's all coming up. Plus John Rourke, it's going to be a big show. We're packed all the way through today. So why don't we do this? Why don't we show you our partners real quick, advertising partners. We'll come back with John Rourke, the Great American Cleanup. You may have seen him this week. He's been all over the place. He's been on Newsmax. He's been on Fox News, and we can't get enough John Rourke. So we'll be back with more with John coming up right after this.
House has the largest selection of solid wood with the hottest new styles. Real furniture that's built to last, like our solid bedrooms, living rooms, and dining from Kincaid. Our volume enables us to save you a lot of money, especially during our solid wood sale. Plus, get free financing, fast free delivery, and free in-home design. So for solid wood, sweet styles, and solid service since 1964, shop over 3 football fields of furniture at Carroll House, because you like nice things.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Mahesh Bhagway. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in St. Louis for over the last 20 years. I went to Washington University. I got my medical degree at St. Louis University. From local high school athletes, college athletes, weekend warriors, injured workers, and even Cardinal baseball players, I've treated them all. Our practice strives to personalize care with every new patient being seen by me. To find me, contact my staff at drbagwe.com. That's DRBAGWE.com. Hopefully you don't need me, but if you do, you can find me now.
Jonathan, what does make Rockwood so special?
Rockwood, we carbonize it higher than anybody else does. So we're cooking out everything that produces ash, smoke, anything like that. It gives you a lot more control over the temperature, a lot more control over the fire, and it's 100% Missouri product.
All right, where can people get it?
It's at 100-plus locations around St. Louis, any Deerberg, Straub's, meat markets, wine and cheese stores, hardware stores, you name it, we're around St. Louis. Just check the website.
And good charcoal should be able to break apart in your hands like
absolutely,
Rockwood does,
yeah.
right?
If you can't break it apart by hand, it's not charcoal yet. It's still wood. They didn't do the job, so make sure it can break apart by hand.
All right, get your Rockwood charcoal.
Marco, wait. What? No response? Hi, I'm Curtis Barks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixed the car. Attention, anyone who served, lived, or worked at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. Camp Lejeune's drinking water was dangerously toxic, and base personnel and their families have since suffered cancer and other illnesses. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and were diagnosed with cancer, you may be eligible for significant compensation. Call the Driscoll firm now. Consultations are free, and you won't pay a fee unless we get you the money you deserve. 1-800-805-4800.
Hey guys, welcome back into cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks. Pro Joe in the house. Grateful you guys are joining us this morning. It is August 10th, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central Time, and all the time on our website, cancelthisshow.com. We've had a lot more news come up, and we're always going to have it. Even when we were the radio show on the edge and then developed into the podcast, we have always had an emphasis with what's happening with border security. Not the crisis, but the disaster that's happening at the border. And about a month and a half ago, we introduced you to John Rourke, the Great American Cleanup. I mean, just an all-around great person. 16-year Army veteran, doing whatever he can right now to clean up. Literally, go to clean up after other people who come into the country illegally and do what he can. We bring John back in this morning to jump in with our show. John, I've gotten to know you a little bit off the air. First of all, you've been making your rounds again this week. First of all, you were on Tucker Carlson. Tucker kind of brought you mainstream. At least that's how I thought. That's how I first found out about you. Then this last week, of course, you were on with Jesse Waters. You were on with Newsmax. A couple days ago, we saw a rush at the border when it came to illegals, I guess, overrunning. Is it a checkpoint in Brownsville?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. Love your show. So I guess that's a new tactic that they're trying, Vic, is they're trying to just bum rush the port of entries now. Governor Abbott's put so much law enforcement down on the border in some of these hotspots, such as Brownsville, Del Rio, Eagle Pass. They're laying, several layers of concertina wire, razor wire, whatever you want to call it, along the Rio Grande. So a lot of these illegal aliens that are crossing that do in fact have children, women, older folk, they're not trying to cut through that razor wire. You know what I mean? So they literally have now started an encampment on the other side of the Rio Grande, on the banks of the Rio Grande in Mexico. So I'm down there in Brownsville, standing on the banks of the Rio, looking at all thousands and thousands of pounds of garbage that's just been left behind. And as I'm looking over the river,
So we lost him. Yeah, we were showing some of that video. We lost your voice while we were showing the video, but we'll see if we can work that through. But man, that's crazy video. So go ahead and continue to explain that, John.
Yeah, so there was just, there had to have been at least somewhere between 500 and 1,000 people living in a tent, in a giant tent city, essentially. They're on the border, and they're screaming at me. If you go to my Instagram, John J. Rourke, or Blue Line Moving, you'll find some of the videos that I shot there. They're screaming at me, help us, we're dying, we have children, we have a wife, I'm hurt, et cetera, et cetera. They won't let us cross, we need help, we need food, we need water, right? So they're screaming this at me across the Rio Grande. I mean, I could throw a rock and hit the guy that's screaming at me. That's how close we are, you know what I mean, to each other, and all the people that are living there. And I recorded that, and it's since kind of gone viral, and as it should, because it's ridiculous. What is going on down at our southern border is a disgrace to our country. It's a stain on our country, and this is President Biden's fault, 100%. I mean, there's only so many Border Patrol agents, Vic and Lizzie, that you can talk to, and law enforcement officers while you're down there, and every single one of them says the same thing. This was not happening under Donald Trump. Period. End of story. That's it. You don't need to listen to politicians. They lie. I don't know. Big surprise. Go figure. They're liars. Okay. They're professional liars. Talk to law enforcement officers. Talk to the people that are actually boots on the ground. It is a disaster area, and it's because of Joe Biden.
We're talking with John Rourke, the Great American Cleanup. You shot some of the video that we're showing right now just to give people an idea. You can hear me too. Are those people who are yelling at you, John?
Yeah, that's the guy right there. He has a crutch in his hand. He has a hurt foot. Starts showing me his foot. Listen, I'm hurt. I can't do anything. Please help.
For the listeners on the podcast, we're showing video of the border. That's in Brownstown, correct, John?
That's Brownsville, Texas,
Or
which is
Brownsville.
South Texas. By if you're familiar with Padre Island, South Padre Island, it's in that area of Texas where the Rio empties out into the Gulf of Mexico. So that's the area that we're in. And as you can see on the video, we're talking a large encampment of people. So what's happening here is they're having a hard time getting across in this area. So they just decided, well, we have strength in numbers. Let's get as many people as we can together, and we're going to just try and bum rush the port of entry.
What do they want you to help them with? That's what I'm trying to understand from the video. By the way, for people who don't know, John has visited the border and he cleans up all the trash after these illegals. And they're not cleaning up their stuff as they come in. We're going to show you some of that. They leave this trash on our border, and John and his team, they go in and clean up as much of it as they can. And before we leave today, we'll let people know, maybe privately or publicly, how they can help and get involved with John to help clean up what's happening down there. It's hard for me to understand, John, when I look at that video, what they want help with you from.
So they don't know. Obviously, they just probably assume I'm a law enforcement officer or a government employee. They don't know. They assume anyone that's down in that area is law enforcement or is a congressperson or whatever. So
is that trash?
That's all trash. And listen, guys, this isn't like just in Brownsville. All right, I've been to Eagle Pass, I've been to Del Rio, and all the parts in between. This is the same song and dance at every border town where illegal aliens find an area to come across. The reason why you're seeing all the clothes here, everybody asks in the comments, why are there so many clothes? I don't understand why. So when they're crossing the Rio Grande, they always have a garbage bag or a bag with dry clothes in it. So when they cross the Rio Grande, they're soaking wet. So they take the wet clothes off and they leave them there on the banks. And then they put the dry clothes on, and then they throw the garbage bag on the ground. And then they keep walking in search of a Border Patrol agent that they can turn themselves into. And then obviously from there, they get released into the country via, plane, train, whatever, bus, and they're spread out across the United States. So this is a disaster down there. It's a humanitarian disaster, as you can see. These people are living that savage life, you know what I mean? Just living off the land, essentially. And then it's an ecological disaster, as you can see. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's hard to describe, but something's got to happen here because this is not acceptable.
There's no end in sight right now either, is there, John? And I ask that because when you have a Democratic mayor all the way up in New York, Eric Adams, begging, pretty much yelling, screaming at Joe Biden for help to declare an emergency in the state of New York. Now you have Representative Chip Roy in Texas, who's threatening, I repeat, he is threatening right now to withhold funding from Homeland Security. He's like, if there's no border security, there's not going to be any funding. So he is a leading member right now, in the House with the Republicans of the Freedom Caucus that said, we're going to do everything we can to withhold funding if you don't get us help. So you don't see any signs of this changing right now, do you?
Oh my God, no, please. Like this is what they want, Vic. I mean, they want this. As crazy as it is to say that.
Who's they? You mean the Biden administration? Mayorkas?
Biden administration wants this. Mayorkas, they want this, okay? These are what they believe to be the new age of Democrat voters, okay? Mm-hmm. What it really is modern day slavery, all right? These people are coming here and making this trek. I talked to 4 people from Venezuela that just popped out of the bush while we were walking down the road.
Wow.
In that general area there. It was 2 women. They were sisters, and they had their son and their daughter with them. And they were telling us about the trek that they made. It took them a month to get from Venezuela to the border. And they said the worst part of it was coming through Mexico. The cartel tried to kidnap their daughter and rape their daughter. They had to run and hide in the bushes. So this is what's happening. And these people are making this trek, and these horrible things are happening to them. And then when they get here, they realize this is not what they thought it was going to be. Okay, as you can see, there's people sleeping all over the streets of New York City. I'm sure that's not what they were looking forward to when they thought they were coming here for the American dream, was to be sleeping on the sidewalk in New York City somewhere. So it's a disaster, and it's unfolding and showing its face in many states now throughout the United States. And I can tell you one thing, Abbott had the right approach when he started busing these people to New York City.
Yes.
If you're going to scream from the mountaintop that you're a sanctuary city and love is love and all this nonsense, well, then you should be the one that gets to deal with this crap. And Governor Abbott is doing the right thing by sending these people there, because now you can see that has changed. Eric Adams wants nothing to do with being a sanctuary city anymore. He won't say that, but man, he wants nothing to do with it. Neither do the people in Chicago, and neither do the people in Massachusetts. And it's not going to stop. I mean, these people are coming across by the millions. All right. And you got to understand, anytime the government tells you something, do you really believe it? When they tell you, oh, it's 3 million people, it's 4 million people. I think they've been saying like that it's been 25 million people for like 30 years. All right. At this point, there is more than 25 million illegal aliens living in this country. Okay. When we're going all the way back to the 80s till now, I mean, let's get real about it here. Like, if I was a recruiter, right, and I used to go to high schools in Palm Beach County, and there were illegal aliens in high school there that were undocumented going to school. I'm trying to recruit kids, and I find out, oh, you're here illegally. I'm sorry, you can't join. I mean, so this is in Palm Beach County, which is like a nicer area of South Florida, right? A higher end, I guess you would say, a more expensive place to live. I mean, it doesn't discriminate. They are in every town, in every state in the United States. And I'm not going to knock them for coming here. I understand the reasons why they're coming here. But you cannot empty the world into the United States, or we will become where they're coming from.
We're speaking with John Rourke. He is with the Great American Cleanup, taking care of the border. Lizzie, did you have anything you wanted to ask him really quick?
Well, one of the questions I have is, these sanctuary cities, they don't want them anymore. And so is that how they're coming to the red states who never said they wanted to be a sanctuary city? I know we have a lot of illegals just in the town that I live in, and I live in a very red county, and they're everywhere. They even took a Catholic church from the archdiocese here and turned it into a Spanish-speaking church just like 2 weeks ago, and almost everyone in it is illegal. So how are they getting here when we didn't ask for them?
Yeah, so they're not dumb either, right? Like, if you were coming across that border, you'd be trying to get to a red area too, because it's going to be nice, it's going to be orderly, there's going to be jobs for you to work, people are going to be thriving. So hell yeah, they want to. You think they want to go to Chicago?
No.
No one wants to go to Chicago. It's more dangerous than Mexico. You have a greater chance of being shot and killed in Chicago than they do in anywhere in Mexico City or anywhere on the trek coming through. So they don't want to go live in these places. These are dumps. The people that live there don't even want to live there, for Christ's sake. So that's why they're coming here. And then you have the government that, listen, this is what happens. They get to border facilities and they say, where do you want to go? Everyone that wants to go to South Florida, you go over here. Everyone that's going to Illinois over here, New York over here, et cetera, et cetera. And then they put them on buses, they put them on planes, and they send them there. And that's it. That's how it works. Like, the government is spreading these people out and trying to turn red places blue.
Mm-hmm. And you can see that around here. And one of the listeners asked, so is the Catholic Church part of this? Because it seems like a lot of Catholic churches now are turning into non-English speaking churches. So is it the Catholic Church is just trying to keep up, or are they part of it?
Well, they're part of it because there's Catholic churches all through Central and South America. And those are the places where people are going to get into the United States. So it all starts at the Catholic Church. So I've talked to several people from the border that we're crossing. And, some of the stories they say is the first place I went is to the Catholic Church, said I wanted to go to the United States. And then they set it up. They put you in contact with the people that you need to get in contact with. And then from there, off they go, and they make their trek into the United States. So yes, of course the Catholic Church is involved in it. And, listen, at the end of the day, right, I mean, they're human beings. You can let it get the best of you.
It's a humanitarian aspect of this that's involved.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so in one ways, you can't blame the Catholic Church because it's, it's international.
Or any church.
Correct. Because they just love people. And so they don't know what to do with it. But in the same token, it's pushing out people who regularly went to church because they feel now they're the second class citizen because the non-English speaking people are getting all of the attention, all of the resources. So people are putting money into their churches and it's not helping their children. So the money trail seems like it's going to slow down, at least in a lot of the churches.
Right. And part of the thing that kind of pisses me off about this and the churches is, so the churches all of a sudden can now take people in to sleep in their churches, homeless people and people from other countries. What about all the homeless people sleeping in the streets in St. Louis? I didn't see any of these churches taking our American citizens that are homeless, sleeping on the streets, veterans, a lot of them. Why aren't they staying in Catholic churches? Why all of a sudden now is the Catholic Church so excited about taking people in that were sleeping on the street? Because trust me, Oakland has 10,000 people living on the streets of Oakland. Show me a Catholic church that's trying to cut that number down. They're not interested in that. So
if one has all the churches should be.
Exactly. And that's the hypocrisy of this.
They are receiving money to store these people and house these people in here from NGOs. Okay, there is a network of NGOs that are all throughout the United States. And as soon as they cross the border, they go right to the Border Patrol catches them, sends them to an NGO in Brownsville, if that's where they crossed, or Del Rio, etc. And from there, they have English-speaking people that volunteer at these NGOs, and they literally get them set up and then spread them out across the United States. They work hand in hand with the federal government. Where do you think these NGOs get their funding from? They get it from the federal government. And then the government gives them the money, and then they execute the plan, which is to spread the illegal immigrants out throughout the United States. And that is what they're doing.
John, if you could tell us, how are you cleaning up? And we'll show video to people again. When you go down to the border with the Great American Rescue, or cleanup, excuse me, it is a rescue, and you clean up, how are you doing it? Because we're showing video, or we were showing video, and Projo will pop that back up. I mean, this is such a monumental task. And I wanted to show it just to show people what you were doing, literally out of the goodness of your heart. How do you clean that stuff up?
I mean, it's brutal, to be honest with you, but many hands makes light work. So I think for this particular area, we're probably going to have to bring in a bobcat or a backhoe to grab that, because it's just so much trash there. But this cleanup is shaping up to be the biggest cleanup of them all as far as volunteers are concerned. I partnered with Myra Flores for Congress, partnered with Constable Norman Esquivel from Precinct 1. And I partnered with some local volunteers that have cleanups already in place that have been doing this. And I believe we might have 50 to 100 people showing up at the southern border ready to pick up this trash, motivated to do it. It is a brutal, tough job. It's over 100 degrees, and we are working 9 to 5, on September 9th and September 10th to clean up as much of this garbage as we can and try to make it look like it used to look before all of this happened. A lot of these places are environmentally protected too, which is funny. The government seems to not care at all about that.
Is there a way that people can help support what you do from the standpoint where they can donate money to the cleanup, the cause, the things that you're doing, John?
Of course. Please go to bordercleanup.com. I've actually started a not-for-profit called We Fund the Blue. And what I do with We Fund the Blue is, in every one of these cleanups that I do, I try to donate as much money as I can directly to the sheriff's department or the constable department or police or whoever I'm working with. The last 2 years, we've been able to donate $10,000 each year directly to the sheriff's department because, frankly, folks, they're fighting a full-scale invasion here of our country. This is not what they signed up for when they signed up to be a law enforcement officer. They signed up to protect and serve the city of Brownsville, right? But instead, they're acting as Border Patrol agents. They're acting as federal agents to prevent an invasion that is taking place of our country. And they're undermanned, and they have old equipment. They need new vests. They need new weaponry. They need drones. They need technology to help prevent this, these bum rushes and these people from storming the border. They need help, and the federal government is not providing them help. And then the departments wind up spending all their money on overtime for their agents, because if they don't, well, then there's going to be people all over Brownsville just walking around the streets. So go to bordercleanup.com. If you'd like to make a monetary donation, you can do so on there. All the money that we get donated goes directly to funding the police. There's something you don't hear too often. We actually fund the blue, not defund the blue. How crazy is that? So if you'd like to make a donation, please go to bordercleanup.com. If you'd like to join us, please come down to Texas. See it for yourself. I can guarantee you one thing. It will change your life. 100% will change your life, seeing this firsthand.
John, it's amazing what you're doing. You are an American hero for attacking this. I don't know of anybody else that would even think about doing something like this. When you come on, we try to at least promote everything that you're involved with too. Can you tell us about your moving company and where you are? Because if there's a way to support you, or if people, I know you're based in Florida, I just don't know how far you go and travel. So if you could tell us about your moving industry and what's happening with that, to see, at least let people know the name and how they might be able to use you.
For sure. There you go. Right there. Blue Line Moving. I'm wearing the shirt. About to go to work here. Work a hard day's work today. So bluelinemoving.net is the website. We do local and long distance moving. So we can move you anywhere in the United States. We obviously tend to move a lot of people from the Northeast to Florida because no one wants to live up there. So a lot of our time we spend up in the Northeast, but I'm the only openly conservative moving business in the United States. I recently franchised my business. So if you're interested in joining a team and joining the conservative movement, please reach out to me. Bluelinemoving.net is my website. You can find us obviously on social media at Blue Line Moving. Local long distance, we can pack you. We'll even clean your house after you move out, the whole 9 yards, full white glove service. We can service any state with the exceptions of really Hawaii and Alaska. But the lower 48, we'd love to be your mover. If you're conservative, there's no other moving company that you should use. When you spend money with our company, I'm going to use some of that money to go clean up the border, to deliver water to East Palestine, to rescue dogs on the border, to aid in hurricane relief, such as Hurricane Ian. That is what we're about. We're about giving back to the community and doing the right thing.
John, we are grateful for your time. Thank you for everything you do. Before you go, you need to let everybody know about your podcast. I've been checking your stuff out. You're damn good. I don't know how you have time to do everything you're doing, but you're making it work.
Thank you. Yeah, the John Rourke Show on Rumble. I started streaming live on Instagram as well, so you can find me there, John J. Rourke. The videos I've posted are going to blow your mind. I know you've seen a couple of them. There's many more videos on my Instagram, so follow me there. Go to Rumble, follow the John Rourke Show on Rumble. I'm no holds barred on my shows, Vic. You've seen them. It is what it is, man. Like there's no more talking anymore. You know what I mean? This is part of the reason why I go to the border. I'm so sick and tired of congressmen and senators and bureaucrats going to the border and talking about what they're going to do. Nothing happens. All they want is views. They want the wall behind them. They want to be with the Rio Grande and the razor wire, and this is unacceptable. We're not going to take it anymore, blah, blah, blah. And then they're on the first thing smoking to Washington, D.C., eating that big ribeye in the steakhouse, talking about, the border was crazy, wasn't it, guys? And they don't do shit. So I take action. That's called go to the border and do something about it. How could you go to the border as a congressman and see that and leave?
I think what you're doing. What you're doing is so rare. Everybody's a talking head. Politicians, even a lot of conservative shows, they just talk, and they don't do anything. I'm with you, John. I am sick of that. If you've got a platform to talk, find solutions, do something about it. And Vic is great about that. He wants to do something about that. And John, I know two people right here in the Midwest that are getting ready to move to Florida. And as soon as I get off this show, if they're not already watching it, they're going to get your information because they're going to move. You're going to move them.
And the moving industry is a scammy industry to begin with. Yes. And it's full right with fraud and people ripping people off.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
Saying it's this price, and then they go to deliver your stuff, it's another price. That doesn't happen with us. I'm a real dude. I have 4 kids. I have 3 dogs. I'm a veteran. I'm a real guy. I'm not ripping anyone off. Listen, we damage something, we're going to replace it. Like, you know what I mean? We're human beings. But the thing is, we're going to do the right thing by our customers. It's crazy to hear a company's going to do the right thing. Oh my God, what are we talking about? They actually answer the phone? They return an email? I mean, we're not talking about crazy things here.
Hey, John, you're sending me mixed messages, though, with your baseball. You got a Yankees hat on. You got Pete Rose in the background. We have a lot of baseball fans that watch and listen to the show. Who are you? What is going on with your baseball likes?
So I'm a huge Yankees fan, huge Jets fan, but Charlie Hustle, okay? I look at myself as that's what I pride myself on is hustling, right? And no one was a bigger hustler than Pete Rose. So that's my guy right there.
He was my favorite player, John.
Put him in the Hall of Fame already. Yes. What the hell is going on? We got people beating their wives. They're in the Hall of Fame. We got people driving drunk. They're in the Hall of Fame. I mean, get the hell out of here with this. The Hit King, or where is it? Other way? Hit King right there. Put him in the Hall of Fame. That's Charlie Hustle. That's my guy right there.
Hey, by the way, we'll catch up on the Jets because of one of my best friends. I've become a Jets fan in the last couple of years. I am very much looking forward to Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. So we'll keep. We have another mutual interest there. John Rourke, Great American Cleanup. We're grateful for your time. Thanks again today, and God bless all the work that you're doing. By the way, what's the best way if people wanted to find out about September 9th, September 10th? What do they do? Do they go down and try to get an Airbnb? How do they hook up with you for that event?
So reach out to me. Just send me an email, John, John, at bluelinemoving.net. You can also go to bordercleanup.com. We have information on there. You can reach out to us. We're going to be in Brownsville, Texas, September 9th, September 10th, September 11th. September 9th and 10th are the days that we clean up the trash. September 11th is the day that we present a check for however much that's going to be directly to the constable's office. And obviously, we never forget September 11th. I mean, let's not lose sight of that. That's what this is all about. I do this to remember the people, the 2,977 people that lost their lives, and all the people that lost their lives due to breathing in toxic fumes and et cetera, all the firemen and law enforcement officers. My dad was a police officer in New York City. World Trade Center was his beat for many years. It means something to me, and people forget how easily people forget. You remember the flags in everyone's front yard, all down the streets. Now we let people from Yemen in across the border. That's where we're at.
All right, John, we appreciate it. Have an awesome day, my friend. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you, buddy.
Thanks, John.
We appreciate it.
All right. Well, he's one of the best guests that we've had.
Yes.
So I had him on for the second time. That's why I want to get him. I saw the stuff happening with the border this week and how these coordinated efforts of illegal aliens are now, they get hundreds of people together and then they just rush a site.
You're right.
And then they come through, and that happened a couple days ago. And then I was like, man, we're going to get John on. So I reached out to him. In the meantime, he was on Fox News again 2 nights ago with Jesse Waters, yesterday with Newsmax. And it's just good to have him come on in. So we're grateful for him, what he's doing. I mean, just think about all the things that he's trying to do right now. Number one, with the business, but number two, going up and cleaning up other people's trash.
Yes.
You want to talk about being a servant, and then money that does come in, helping the sheriff's departments that are already underfunded, that are right there on the border. Literally, we didn't have a chance to get into it there, but the sheriff's deputies, they're getting calls. They're working much more than what their job even entails.
Yes.
They're getting calls at night when they've done a day shift. We need you now. We've got people racing across the border. And don't think for a second that this story has ever gone down, that there's less crossings just because Mayorkas won't talk about it, just because local news won't talk about it, just because national media won't talk about it, because, oh no, we don't want to upset anybody. We don't want to get canceled. We're afraid how we're going to be looked at. We're afraid of what may happen. And it is also interesting when you have a guy like John who comes on and calls out politicians and he calls out the government. And I say it's interesting. Our feed seems pretty damn clear now, but I was getting texted when he was on. The feed keeps going in and out. It's like, what's going on? And then there's no other issues, no problems.
Right.
And it's only when that kind of a situation happens. Last Friday, it is also interesting that, when we were talking with J.R. Moore,
correct,
about Antarctica, crazy stuff started happening on a few of our feeds, our platforms. And I'm not saying names because I don't want to get us in trouble anymore.
Right.
But this crap goes on. John, thank you, man. We're just grateful for him. And by the way, you can call him at the last moment and he'll jump on. It's just one of those things. So check him out on Instagram, bordercleanup.com, bordercleanup.com. I inquired about getting down there, and I promise you I'm going to get down to the border at some point. I'm going to shoot video for myself, and I'm going to bring it back, and I'm going to talk about those experiences. I can't go to September 9th and 10th because I've got some family issues that are going on. However, once again, on Instagram, he's at John J. Rourke. At John J. Rourke on Instagram, at John J. Rourke. Please check him out. I know that we have several people who get involved and donate and help. You guys have helped us out. If you know of family members, friends, businesses who want to make a difference and try to help out what John is doing, you can do that as well. You can go down, send your money to the border, know that you've got it with a guy like John who's trying to take care of business. And anybody, I'm sorry, who wants to be and work as hard as Pete Rose
Yes.
and likes the Jets. I'm telling you, man.
Exactly.
I'm promoting it.
You betcha. You betcha.
That's my kind of guy. This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks and Projo. It's a massive issue what's happening at the border. Don't forget for a second that just because you don't see it in the limelight, you don't see it in the media, that this stuff is not going on. It's so freaking bad that you literally have, as I said during the interview, Texas Representative Chip Roy literally coming out publicly saying no border security, no funding, end of story. And the Freedom Caucus is now pushing this. And who knows what'll happen? I mean, we saw the kind of strong-armed Kevin McCarthy in a couple issues where Kevin had to do some issues. Is this going to stop will it stop the government?
I hope so.
Will it shut down the government? We know something drastic has to happen.
It does. It does.
And if you come out and say this, then, the left and those who are against you or have some devious purposes in mind will say that you don't have heart, you don't care, you don't love, you're not about people who are just looking for a better life, having a better life. Yeah, well, really? This is look around your towns. It's everywhere in America, and it's only going to get worse, as John has told us. And he's been to the border, 11 times now in the last 2.5 years, 3 years. If you're not going to take our word for it, take John's word for it, because this kind of stuff is happening. And then you have, I don't know if it was the Massachusetts governor, but she told people yesterday, have a heart and please open up your homes. Do you have a room to open up to some illegal aliens? This happened.
Uh-huh.
Did anybody see this?
I did. It's very interesting. It's actually very good and very indicative of the left, that they want you to do it, you to do it, you to do it. And then when they're presented with the solution that they want us to do, they don't do it.
Well, it's Governor Healy. She literally asked residents to house migrant families because their shelters are all full. What did you think was going to happen, as John said, when you have tens of millions of illegals here and growing? It hasn't stopped. The state shelters in Massachusetts are packed. It was all packed. So Governor Maura Healey came out and literally asked people, hey, the governor says anywhere between 10 to 30 migrant families a day are coming into Massachusetts. Think of where Massachusetts is on the map. Think of where they're coming across the border. If you don't think they're coming to your hometown or not there already or going to continue in a massive amount of numbers, think again. When are we going to get serious about the border? Let's talk about Trump indictments. Oh, my God. A bunch of crap that's thrown against the wall because there's so much deep state in this country, it'll blow your freaking mind. Okay, think about this. 10 to 30 migrant families a day coming in to Massachusetts of all states. She says there's 40 hotels across the state that are currently helping house them. Hotels, they're being overrun right now, and the governor's pleading for help. Guess what? Saying the same thing that New York Mayor Eric Adams is saying, declare a state of emergency in New York. We need help. We need federal government help. Also saying it in Massachusetts. Get this number. 5,600 families are currently housed in the state's emergency shelter system. Who do you think's paying for that?
You.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You are.
Yeah.
I am. Joe.
They're not paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not working. The number is 80% higher than a year ago. That's an 80% increase in 1 year. And you want to vote for Joe Biden? You want to keep Mayorkas in charge of what he is doing? You really want to think that everything is the Democrats' way right now and it should stay that way? Are you fucking kidding me? This is insane. 80% more illegal aliens in the state of Massachusetts in just 1 year. Here's another example. Massachusetts spending $45 million a year, actually $45 million a month to help assist the families. $45 million a month. Our system's going to break. It's going to buckle. It's bending and it's going to break. There is no other way to say it. Allegedly, the situation is so bad just in the state of Massachusetts that the governor there, Governor Healy's administration, is now asking people to open their homes and businesses to help people in need. And they're playing on those damn heartstrings, like I said before. Americans and humans have a heart. given to you by God. And of course, you want to try to help people. But in the midst of things, there is a reason why there is law and order in place, and you follow law and order so that the structure stays the same. If you just race over the system, crap's going to happen. And that's what's going on right now. Literally, this is the quote. Could you imagine Governor Parson in the state of Missouri saying this, quote, most importantly, if you have an extra room or a suite in your house, please consider hosting a family. Housing and shelter is our most pressing need, and become a sponsor family. That actually came from Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that I would think most people in this state would go, okay, go open the governor's mansion then, Mike.
Now, this is the bullshit comment. At some point, this is quote, at some point, we also have to have compassion for the people that are here. If Massachusetts can't care for the people that are currently here, then why should we bring in more people into the state? Yeah, exactly.
That is such bullshit, because they're not even, just like what John said, we have so many people already here that need help, that are on the streets. And did anybody tell them to open the door to them? No.
It's going to affect, as we talked about,
yes,
the public school system. It's going to affect food. If you think you had short supplies now, just wait until you see what's coming. I haven't even had a chance to get to the comment line because I am so on fire with this, Liz. I can only imagine.
And the comment line is got the best comments I've seen in a long time.
I mean, this is just one state, and it blew my mind when I was reading this report last night. Massachusetts. What do you think about all the other surrounding states? Mm-hmm. Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arizona. I mean, literally the whole, and then it's going to go up into the North Carolinas. You're just going to South Carolina, North Carolina, all these states. And of course, we know what's happening in Chicago. This is not getting any better. It's getting worse. 80% increase in one state in illegals. And as John Rourke said, the best thing Governor Abbott could have ever done was bus illegal aliens, mm-hmm. all over the damn country to sanctuary cities so that they can feel what Texas and these border towns and these sheriffs and these law-abiding citizens have been dealing with for decades. But now it has been put on hyperspeed at the amount of illegals that are coming through the country every single day. You saw the damn video with John. Mm-hmm. Thank God John goes down there and shoots video of what's going on, but people don't want to pay attention to it because it hasn't affected you yet.
Oh, and it's going to affect everyone. I mean, we're in the middle of USA here, and I can't go anywhere that the stores are the same as they used to be.
This is why I always say be careful about any world news. If world news is not covering these stories in your town, be careful. If local news is not covering it, you got to get to places like what we're doing, what we have going on, because right now, what is happening to this country in so many areas, specifically the border, is insane. And of course, we've talked about it several times, but every chance we get to talk with John, we're going to talk about it. And then, of course, now we saw a new tactic this week being used by illegals where hundreds of them get together mm-hmm. and rush a checkpoint all at one time. And by the way, they're in now.
Right.
Again.
And I'm not, and can you imagine those that are bum rushing police officers? That's who we're supposed to open the door. And we've got little girls and little boys in our house so that they can be raped and pillaged. Come on. I mean, these people have lost their freaking minds.
Thank God for Chip Roy standing up now to try to do something. This is all in the midst of all the national headlines. People it's Trump, 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 Trump.
Of course.
Indictment, 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 indictment. Jack Smith, Jack Smith, Jack Smith. It'll make you sick to your stomach. You have to pay attention because if you don't, you will be lost. But at the mm-hmm. same point in time, I understand why people don't, they want to check out and they're like, shit, life sucks, or this country is nowhere what it once was.
It's so aggravating. And, like Jeannie on the chat line is saying they're letting them in so much because she doesn't think Trump will win because there's more of them now than us patriots. And I don't want to think that. I don't, because there are so many of us that like him. But my goodness, they're letting in as many people as there are patriots. And it's the only way that he loses is cheating, 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 cheating. It's frustrating. And who's helping us? No one. No one. John Rourke.
Donna says, I moved from California in 1984 because of that language barrier in the schools.
Yes.
That was in 84. Yeah, well, let me tell you something. Public schools, especially, it's changed a lot.
It is everywhere. You might have moved from California, but now you can move to Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri, all these flyover states, and your schools are overrun with children that cannot speak English. And my heart does go out to those kids. It's not their fault. But in the same token, those kids are angry and mad and hate America. They're going to beat the crap out of your kid on the playground. I mean, think about it. That's what's happening. They're going to smash the teacher in the face. This is not cute. This is really bad.
Robert's one of our regular viewers and listeners. He's been saying this for a few years.
Yeah.
He says, quote, it's the takedown of America.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. A purposeful takedown of America.
Can you imagine the money spent that we are not aware of?
Yes.
Is that the real reason for government gambling, government weed, pharma, cash taxes to try to fund more of the bull crap that's going on?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
We had a pork expert on Monday talking about some of the problems that are in that industry as well. I mean, there isn't really a lot of industry that's going great right now.
No.
Kevin says, look at the pork and chicken factories that are closing everywhere. We have people coming in like crazy and they're closing plants. What the hell? When you have more people here, they're going to take up more resources. When you haven't had a chance to plan it, which is why I talk about the law and order and the way that you do things when you come into a country, which is why you can't go somewhere illegally. Once again, many other countries would never let this happen. It's happening here. It's being done on purpose. People need to wake up. How do you wake up? You get on the phone and you start talking, you get the information out. But so many people are still so comfortable, as my friend from a small little country that used to be governed by Russia says, and as he says, I know we talk about us being a republic, but democracy will eventually kill democracy because people get too comfortable. They get too lazy and think that they're untouchable. They don't appreciate what they have, and they have to lose it all, which is what we have seen happen in every dominant society in the history of the world. They lose it because they get lazy and comfortable. And is it human nature? Yeah.
Yes.
Things are so comfortable. We don't need God. Oh, well, we don't know if God's that real or not. We can think for ourselves, and it becomes a battle of good versus evil, as we talk about as well. So once again, I'm sorry if I'm not going to host an illegal family, and you can call me whatever you want. That is the stupidest, most selfish, arrogant thing this governor can ask and tell people. It is evil to try to put that onus on any family and play at heartstrings to say, oh, help this person out who did something illegal. Help this person out who said, screw everything else, I'm coming in. Jay brings up an interesting point too. We never know where we're going to go. Didn't expect to spend this much time on the subject, but we're here. He says, my hope is that when Trump wins in 2024, he turns ice loose. Well, Trump said that over a press conference in South Carolina this last weekend. He said it will be the biggest deportation event in the history of America. I will bring in the right people. I will fund the people to do this. Now, once again, I don't know how you're going to go to every town in America and do this. I don't know how you're going to fund it. However, it sounds great. And Trump says he's going to do it. And Trump is a guy that did everything he said he was going to do. And that's why the left and people went after him and all of a sudden his former liberal friends who loved him thought that he was the greatest guy in the world until he decided to run as a Republican and a conservative and get shit done. He'll do it. He'll do something of that nature, or at least he'll try if he gets a chance to run and is elected. Kevin Joseph reminds us that socialism does not work. History tells us this time and time again. Yeah, we get that. And as Jeannie says, we can bitch all we want, but we need to do something.
And that's why I really like John, because he is somebody that's doing something. Because I agree with Jeannie. Everybody just talks, but they don't really do anything. And that's when I had said earlier this week, the very least that we should be doing is being at home. If you're not out, you need to be on your computer finding out who your legislatures are and inundate them, go to your capitals, go talk to your governors, talk to your state rep, talk to your senators, because that's a very good start, because you have to do something. We can't just sit here and bitch constantly. We have to do something. And that's what my family did too, because I, for years, just bitch about it. But instead, so we now have a son-in-law fighting. We've got another attorney in my family. We are fighting. And you have to do something. You have to be on the ground. You have to work for people. You have to find good legislators and maybe go down to the border. Maybe that's what your calling is to go to the border and see it. Even just videotaping when you go down to the border is showing it. I know that this sounds like I'm being selfish about this, but this, if you forward any show, this is the show you forward, and you tell them to go to the John Rourke section and wake up one of your friends that will at least listen to you, but maybe they're liberal or maybe they're a conservative who doesn't think this is that bad. Share this show. Text it to them today and say, listen to this, guys. What are we going to do about this? Go to the schools. I know you can't videotape schools, but listen to your children. Maybe put your child's voice on camera and saying, Mommy, I can't go to the bathroom because there is a boy in there and I'm a little girl, or I can't understand anyone because everyone is speaking a language I can't understand. Tell people, and forward shows, not just our show, forward shows that people are doing something, not just bitching.
It's a good point. Lizzie Sparks here. I'm Vic Faust, Projo in the house. This is cancelthisshow.com. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central and all the time, of course, on our website, cancelthisshow.com. Like, subscribe, share the show, please. That helps us out. When you jump in, you give us a wave, you give us a thumbs up. We're grateful for everything there. When you do, we try to recognize people with our Patriots page. We pop that in and out. We try to recognize people for your comments, for you jumping in, doing everything you can to promote the show. Once again, cancelthisshow.com. You can jump in at cancelthisshow.com, find all of the likes. You can find what kind of platform you want to watch on. Whether it's Facebook, whether it's Rumble, whether it's YouTube, Clout Hub, we're all over the place there. You can jump in and see what you want to do there. This is cancelthisshow.com. That's the portion with John Rourke. Once again, check him out, bordercleanup.com, bordercleanup.com. We're also grateful for all of our listeners who go out and use the partners that we have. If there's a product that you can use, if you can jump in and spend money with one of these companies and let them know that you heard about them from Cancel This, we're grateful for that. Specifically, Complete Auto Body Repair. Curtis Sparks, the owner there, he'll be in tomorrow morning, by the way, at 8 o'clock. He has several events coming up, that he wanted the public to know about. 7 locations throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area, climate controlled. They're always looking for technicians and salespeople to help support, supply, and sell the products that they have there. Strategic Air Services, where we broadcast live out of, the best luxury/private airline that you're going to find. It is a company that takes care of every single detail. Your luggage will not be lost. You don't have to deal with TSA. And believe it or not, it's not a whole lot more than what you would already be paying. It may surprise you, depending upon how many people are flying, where you're going, and what kind of a plane you decide to fly in. Experienced Realty Partners, Kathy Hobig-Strick, Steve Strick. If you have any sort of question when it comes to realty, if you want to sell your house, if you think you should, how should I do this? How should I do that? Give their team a call. You don't want to do it alone, and you want to make sure you're going with the best. Go with the experience. It's Experience Realty. Kathy Helbig-Strick, 314-276-SOLD, 314-276-SOLD. Also, Vehicle Protection Group, Todd at VPC Network. That is Todd at VPC Network. Give them an email. Let them know that you're interested. They'll give you the information you need to find when it comes to, they're looking for a few employees to literally be a salesperson for warranties, but you answer inbound calls, people who are interested, calling to find out more information. They're top people there. After a little bit of experience making 6 figures, give them a call, let them know. Green Light Dispensary, the largest cannabis dispensary in the state of Missouri, growing all around the country. You can download the coupon at cancelthisshow.com. You go to our partners page, you click on the coupon, you can take it in for a discount with you when you go to one of their several locations throughout the St. Louis area. Also, the best charcoal you're going to find anywhere in the country. It's Rockwood Charcoal. It's based out of the state of Missouri. They're a national product. Rockwood, Jonathan Heslop explains why it is the best all the time, because the trees that we have in the state of Missouri produce and end up making the best charcoal. And by the way, the best charcoal breaks apart in your hand. It doesn't just have filler on it. It doesn't have wood chips. It doesn't have all kinds of other stuff that not only is unhealthy for you, but it makes the food taste bad as well. So we appreciate our advertisers, Carroll House Furniture, as always. And of course, if you check out our partners page, there are more where if you buy their products, they come back. They'll give us a portion back to help continue what we do here with cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks and Projo. It's Thursday, August 10th. Appreciate you jumping into the show today. So much more going on. I don't know. There's not a day that goes by that we don't have something going on with Joe Biden.
For sure.
It's interesting. I couldn't figure out who this guy was, but we'll show you this. He actually called over Peter Doocy yesterday after a long press conference, a long event. Peter Doocy from Fox News was hanging out, and you'll see what happened. But he just is the surly type of guy, Biden is, that you'll see in the video. He doesn't, there's just nothing kind. There's nothing very inviting about the guy. He's angry. He doesn't look like he wants to be anywhere all the time. Do you have that ready to go then, Joe? Okay. Check out what happened yesterday when
in New Mexico
Doocy went over to ask him a question.
What'd you get, Peter?
Sandra, we got a first of its kind reaction to that testimony. Nobody has asked President Biden yet about these allegations from a former Hunter Biden business associate that Hunter would call his dad, then the vice president, and put him on speakerphone to chat with his business associates. So at the conclusion of this event, I had a chance, at the president's invitation, he waved his son over to ask him. There's this testimony now where one of your son's former business associates is claiming that you were on speakerphone a lot with them talking business. Is that what?
Never talk business to anybody. And I knew you'd have a lousy question.
Well, why is that a lousy question?
Because it's not true.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. That was funny. Thank you, Mr. President.
What? What do you mean?
That was a lousy question.
I'm surprised he waved him over.
Yeah, I am too.
I was like, was that on purpose? Was it? I could not figure this out outside of that Joe Biden, right, that we were just looking at.
I wonder which Joe Biden he met.
Well, that one, yeah, that's the angry version.
For sure, it's the angry version, which I think is not the real version.
No, but he was walking. Yeah, he was walking all right.
Yeah, he was walking all
Benny
right.
says, gosh, I love Peter. I agree.
I do too. I love him too.
Les said you should show the whole video where Doocy. No, he did. He climbed over security gate. He climbed over a border. It was interesting to go ask the question. I did see that.
Yes. Yes. Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah. And of course, the president doesn't like questions about Hunter when so much is going on right now.
Well, of course he doesn't. It incriminates him too. And nobody likes anybody talking about your kid. But dear God, his kid is not just bad. We all know how awful he is and what he's done. This is not your average bad boy kid. He's like his daddy. He's a chip off the old block.
Hey, by the way, I had another tidbit just to finish up the conversation that we had going on about illegal immigration and the illegal aliens that are all over the place.
Yeah.
I brought up New York City and why Eric Adams was begging the president to declare a state of emergency in the state of New York. Democrat Eric Adams ripping President Biden, who is pretty much nowhere to be found. He's on vacation all the time. He vacations more than any president we've ever had. We're talking about New Yorkers having to spend $12 billion on illegal immigration. It's triple the cost that was previously projected. That's why we spent the first hour, $12 billion now in regards to taking care of all of the illegal immigration. It's going to buckle. The country's going to buckle somehow, some way. I know many people don't talk about it, or it just becomes one of those issues. Yeah, I've heard about it. It's happening. And, we'll see what happens. But my God, it doesn't get any better. It only gets worse. And it's another situation that the Biden administration does not want and does not want to get into. And I blame the media for this. over and over and over again. That's what you can do if you even care, but don't watch local media, don't watch national media unless you call them and demand that they start covering the illegal stories. I started to feel this way when we started doing these shows, and you start to see it. And I saw it for 24 years. It's not the majority that's necessarily silent, guys. Think about this. It's not the majority that are necessarily silent. It's the media that's silent about the majority.
Yes. Yes.
It really is.
It really is.
And remember that you have power, and we saw you can backlash. You can look what people have done to Bud Light.
Yeah.
If somebody is trying to come out and do this stuff, you can do what you want to do. It just makes me sad to see what's happening to this country, the country that I grew up in. And then I think about my kids. If they were going to have grandkids, what we're leaving for everything that's going there. Matthew Hicks says, Vic, local media sucks. I have to imagine it was a struggle to read the stories you received. Yeah, it does. And it did at certain times. It's just, let's cover these stories and the things that are actually going on instead of just Trump indictments. Let's talk about Trump indictments. That's all we seem to get, and it drives me crazy. This is cancelthisshow.com. Here's the other issue that's going on, and it may not. I just look about from across the country right now. You had an Ecuadorian populist candidate gunned down, murdered out at a campaign event yesterday. Okay, people, that may not ring much for you, but just think about the kind of candidates these are. These are going against the system candidates, going against the government, and we're all kind of a big group of countries now. I mean, yeah, there's third world countries, but with media, with social media, with people being called out to light, this can happen anywhere. So you have an Ecuadorian candidate shot and killed. It seems so hard to think that, remember, President Reagan, there was an assassination attempt on his life. Just think about that.
Yes.
I mean, those things happen. It's hard to imagine that happening now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is hard to imagine that. And you look at all the conspiracy theories that we thought were happening back then. Now we know what is really going on. We know. I
mean, people can say things. I mean, I know the guy in Utah was killed by the FBI yesterday because he made social media quotes that he should take a gun because Biden was in Utah, and God knows what happened when FBI officials went to his house. You can't say anything on social media about killing a president. You just can't. No, especially if it's a Democrat president, because the FBI is going to be at your house. And if they show up at your house, you may think it's the wild, wild west. And if you don't submit, you're going to get shot. So anybody that wants to say it's just people of color that stuff happens to, stop it. Don't even think about saying it, because a white conservative Republican, I don't know if he was crazy or not, who knows, was killed in his house yesterday after making comments about Joe Biden. So we have people that will make comments. We have people that will say things. However, look at what's happening all across this world. Ecuadorian candidate, populist candidate, shot, assassinated, dead. Same thing happened in Japan. Populist candidate, same kind of candidate. A guy that's for the people, a guy that's for freedom, trying to be a patriot in his country, shot, killed. Then people don't have to kill you either. What happens in Pakistan? Oh, that populist candidate jailed. Brazil jailed. And what is the government trying to do to America's populist candidate? The people's choice, Donald Trump. They're trying to put him in jail.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And there's been people that
this is a worldwide
problem. Yeah, it's worldwide. It's everywhere. And there's been people that have threatened to kill President Trump, and really nothing happened to them. I mean, look at all the songs, and people were gonna, cut their head off, and so on and so forth. Celebrities did, and they all got by with it. Supposedly, Secret Service showed up at each one of these people's houses, but I don't believe that the treatment is fair. I mean, you can say that you're gonna, kill Biden, and they're gonna be right at you, and if you even look wrong, they're gonna gun you down. But talk bad about Trump all you want.
Robert says America jailed. I don't know if you heard what I said, meaning they're trying to jail Trump.
Yeah.
As a populist candidate. That's
for sure.
That's what I see.
Yeah.
Jay says, wasn't Putin's opponent jailed as well? I don't know. On a side note, I did see that Putin has now ordered chemical castration for pedophiles in the country of Russia.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, we can hate him for doing whatever he's done, and I'm not promoting him. I'm just saying I am promoting that decision. Sorry, I agree 100%, and I'm not sold on the 5G either. So, thankfully, and he took away 5G.
Right.
Now I know he's not letting people grow certain foods.
Correct.
He can come. He's a dictator, and I know that there's a war going on, but
I think he's a dictator. And people might just think I'm awful for saying this. Joe Biden and whoever's running the show is just as bad, if not worse.
100%.
So Putin, okay, yeah, he's bad. Zelensky, okay, yeah, I think he's even worse. But I think we have the worst administration because we're supposed to be the land of the free, and we are absolutely not free.
I just started to see some of those things, and it's like, wow, this guy gets killed in Ecuador, and what do you do to your political opponents now? You don't get to have a fair race, a fair runoff. There's no reason to think that anything is ever going to be fair in this country, the United States. No way. No way, no way, no way. Robert calls it the same people all around the world.
Yeah.
Is it the world order? Is it trying to put everybody back into a position where everybody, you fall in line, you follow us, you do what we say, become more dependent on government? It's everything that we've talked about, from electric to gasoline to food.
Mm-hmm. And it's what Eric used to say. We're the little ants. We're the little ants that is just going around. And once the little ant picks up too big of a piece of bread, then all of a sudden we're going to be squashed. And it's happening in America too.
We appreciate your comments as part of the live audience. Yes, we have lots of people who listen live, who watch live, many more, obviously, after the fact, that watch our taped versions that we have of the podcast, both visual and audio. You can check out all those platforms on cancelthisshow.com. But these stories, I just get sad. I know something happens in Ecuador. It may not ring here, but man, for something about that just hit home where I'm like, my God, this guy is just out campaigning, trying to, do the best thing he can for this country, and then he gets shot and brought down. Now, I don't know what kind of security there is in Ecuador. I mean, it's almost unheard of to see it happen to a president or a former president in this country right now. But my God, I guess you never know what can happen.
My daughter went to a mission trip on Ecuador, and it was almost as free as America. She felt like.
How long ago was she there?
Probably 5 years ago. I mean, I know a lot has happened in the last 5 years, and they were definitely poorer than we were, but she felt like they had as much freedoms, if not more, than we did over here.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that just shows you how America is becoming like Ecuador, not necessarily Ecuador becoming like America. We have lost freedoms slowly till we don't even notice it. And so she went to Ecuador, and it was because with the church group that she went with, they were going to help the poor Ecuadorians. And when she came back, the opposite effect was like, what are we doing over there helping people that can help themselves? They're totally fine. They just wanted our money. So she was kind of jaded on some mission trips that it's a money grab, not necessarily helping anyone.
Well, we've talked about so many stories where it's hard to trust anything that's happening in our world today. I mean, yeah, you want to get up every day. You want to be happy. You want to enjoy the sunshine when you can. You want to think that things are good in your life because you can't walk around all day in this funk. But you also have to be educated. And somehow, some way, you have to find that happy zone where you are educated, where you know stuff, but you don't walk around with your head in the sand all the time, because eventually it will get you. But then again, now we're starting to find out that all of these stories, rumors, conspiracy theories are true, and we're finding out more and more evidence of it. Several FBI offices, guess what? It is a 100% fact, as we have talked about on this show. As we've had Governor Ashcroft on, or the guy Ashcroft who wants to run for governor. We've had the Attorney General Andrew Bailey on, Eric Schmidt in the past, another U.S. Senator, about what the FBI was doing to Catholic churches, Catholic, traditional Catholics. Several FBI offices, it's now been confirmed, contributed to the anti-Catholic memo. And this goes 100% against Christopher Wray's testimony in recent weeks. He lied under oath. He literally lied under oath. And what is the DOJ going to do about it? I don't know. But GOP lawmakers now say that the subpoena document details how FBI Portland and LA, blue cities, hubs for liberal lunatics, how they contributed to the Richmond anti-Catholic memo. That's right. You can't even have your own faith anymore and publicly state it or live it without the government coming after you, or at least in certain situations. House Republicans say that the FBI documents that they've obtained prove that several field offices, FBI field offices, contributed to that memo that targeted the traditional Catholics as, quote, potential terrorist, which is an absolute I'm not even going to say it, conflicting with the testimony, sworn testimony, by the way, of the FBI's Christopher Wray. So we know that right now. It is interesting. Chairman Jim Jordan, of course, Republican from Ohio, said, quote, the new information suggests that the FBI's use of its law enforcement capabilities to intrude on Americans' First Amendment rights is more widespread than initially suspected. So they are coming after your faith. They are coming after your ideals. And you have to freaking somehow, some way, call it out when you possibly can. The information that has now come out, according to Jim Jordan, says it also contradicts what he said, because the FBI's Christopher Wray said not a single field office was involved. And now they have a document that proves that it was. It's just another example of what's going on. What can you do? How does it make you feel? Do you care? Do you want to know? All situations that we try to cover, but you have to bring it out because it's so difficult to believe anything that you hear nationally. You have to go out and do this stuff for yourself.
You have to do your own research, because you can't look at it at face value. You can't. And even if I see even something on the Blaze and they're talking about something in particular, I will even then go deeper and find the original source, because sometimes it gets distorted even by a conservative bent because of their opinion. You have to really look at about 3 articles about the same thing and come up with your own conclusion.
Yeah. Well, we're continuing to bring those stories up when we possibly can. A little bit off the beaten path. Here's an interesting situation. You were a teacher.
Yes.
I don't know what to make of this. It's not cool, but I don't know what kind of teacher she was. But if you haven't seen this story yet, Texas, a school district fired a first grade teacher. She's a first grade teacher. What do you think about first grade teachers? They're sweet people, right? Usually
Very
they're kind, they're sweet,
usually.
they're nice, whether it's a guy, whether it's a gal. Well, she got fired because she joked about killing her sister's white boyfriend. She's black. She didn't want her black sister to date a white guy. She wrote, "Hide the body." So what happened was they found out that this woman, they went and started looking at her posting. So she had a lot of anti-white posts. CNN, MSNBC, local news stations are not covering the story. And you know why. Do I have to say, you know why they're not covering it?
You know why.
Because of the color issue,
yes.
Because of black and white, and will be considered racist. And this is ironic because this is a story of a black person being racist. And yes, black people can be racist. Don't let anybody tell you that they can't be. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit ever.
Correct. It is the biggest bunch of bullshit. And they call it reverse racism. No, it's just racism.
I didn't think, there's no such thing as reverse racism, right?
No, not at all. And black teachers that are racist, exactly what, to your point, they get by with saying these things. If a white teacher said it, they would not only get fired, they would be crucified in their neighborhood and nobody would talk to them. And you can't talk to that racist. But black people get a lot of sympathy from the white liberal.
And it is interesting because you adopted Asian girls.
I did.
And you have a African-American son-in-law.
I do.
So you can speak to this pretty well from that standpoint. Do you guys talk race a lot?
We do. We always have. And so we decided to really start talking race when we adopted our first little girl from China, so that they could understand that there's differences, but that we treat everyone the same. So we openly have dialogues about race all the time. And so it even proves more the point when people are, doing the Black Lives Matters and doing all of this, what I call race baiting. We don't buy that. My children have been treated very much the same, white, black, whatever. And we saw a little bit of racism. I've talked about this a little bit on the show with my Asian daughters, just a little bit within my family, not really the public, but just some of my older relatives. And we pushed back and said we wouldn't allow it. And if you're going to treat them different than our white kids, then you absolutely are not going to see them. Then that all subsided. We don't see any racism.
It was a different culture. I saw it too.
It was. It was a totally different
I'm not saying
culture.
it was good. It was just a different culture.
And we understood that with our great grandpas and stuff like that. But then it became, we don't have anyone racist in our family anymore or anything. But I am just as convicted to my white children now having that, using the word reversed again, telling my white children that they're oppressed. I am now got that kind of racism all sorted out. And now people are going after my white kids. And I'm like, yeah, we're not playing that game either. Treat everyone fairly. Now, cultures are different. I get that. I've got some friends that adopted kids from China and they really kept their child in the Asian culture. We don't do that. We're Americans. So 2 of my kids have Chinese faces and my granddaughter has, a darker skinned face and my son-in-law is black. However, we are going to treat everyone absolutely the same. And we're all Americans. You come in and you would just think we're all a rah-rah America house. But it's fine if somebody else wants to endear their culture. And I don't think it's racist if, somebody that's Mexican wants to eat Mexican food and somebody that's German wants to do the polka, and so on with all the religions. I don't even have a problem. And I know some people do, but, like with Kwanzaa, some people have a problem with Kwanzaa.
Oh my God.
I don't. It's fine, but that's not who we are. We are America first.
Well, this woman is black first. And
clearly.
Yeah, very pretty woman,
She's
29-year-old Danielle Allen. She was posting up a storm. That's for sure. She was loving posting up on Facebook.
Can't stand that.
Unfortunately, well, she's been fired. So that's Danielle right there. She was fired. She said, quote, "Why shouldn't I hate white people?"
What?
She was at Thompson Elementary School. So she used
I hope she's never had any white kids in her class.
Well, she used X, which is formerly known as Twitter, for a burner account where she went under the pseudonym Claire Kyle. It was first discovered by a user that brought her or sold her out. It was very interesting. So the school district where she was in called her post racist, and they said that the teacher would not be eligible for rehire. This is a 29-year-old that said, "Why shouldn't I be racist?" She didn't want her sister dating a white guy.
That's ridiculous.
So she's like, "We need to, hide the body."
She does. She's so beautiful.
She said that the school district told her to delete the post. But she said, "But my job is safe since I did not directly wish harm on all white people. Just my sister's boyfriend."
Because he's white.
She may have been joking. She may not have been joking. Then she posted, "Just talked to the school board. My job is safe. I told them it was just a joke and they know I'm not racist. So have fun." So Danielle recorded a video of herself walking through the halls of what appeared to be the elementary school, stating that Twitter thinks they can take my job away from me, call me every name under the sun, but y'all will never call me unemployed. So then I know. Then she originally posted a text message in exchange where she joked about planning to murder her sister's white boyfriend. She also said that she had concern because the boyfriend looked like a Trump supporter.
Right.
These are the kind of things that get out there, and especially, hopefully, in the black community sees through it that conservatives are not your enemy.
Nope.
It's oh my God. Then she said, quote, "I can't believe she has this cave dweller in my freaking house." So she's calling the white guy a cave dweller.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I'm trying to stay calm. She knows I'm racist with 3 exclamation points. Come and kill him for me. I promise you, I'll help you hide the body. Bring all 4 of your guns.
Wow.
First grade teacher. So anyway,
I agree with Mary. Some of these people do need a demonic exorcism. They really do. They are so full of deep down hate. Deep down hate. And that is something that you've gotten over time because you're not born with that. I know we're born with the original sin, but I worked with preschoolers for years. Those little kids don't care what color you are, where you came from, if you're rich, if you're poor. They just want you to be nice. They just want you to play and be nice and do the same things. So somewhere along the line, you are born and bred with this hatred. Maybe your parents, maybe your environment.
Yeah, but things happen to you as well sometimes in life.
That's true. And it could be, white people that did something to her, which makes her hate all white people. I get where some people are mad at black people because black people did that to them. But it's like, I kind of feel sorry for her. I do. I feel sorry for her because as pretty as her face is, her inside, her soul is dark. That must be hard to live that way.
Yeah, Aaron Bland says, sounds like politicians in the city of St. Louis. Paula couldn't believe that she was putting that bold stuff out there. That can happen as well. It just goes back to show, there's, and it pissed me off because I saw the story yesterday at the same time where you have Representative Cory Bush out of St. Louis playing the effing race card once again. To get as much support as she possibly can, not talking about policy, but talking about stupid ass racial card situations that have nothing to do with anything that's going on. We talked about it yesterday. It was the anniversary of Mike, and I wish someone we talked the anniversary of Michael Brown.
Yes, we mentioned it a little bit yesterday. Mm-hmm.
And we spoke about it yesterday. Melinda says, yes, you're a product of how you're raised. I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree 100%.
Yes.
It starts with parents, no matter what way you're going. It's a long, long time ago, but I shared this story. A fullback on the team when I was playing football at the University of Missouri became a good friend of mine. But he told me my dad hates white people, and because he was giving me a compliment.
Right.
He's like, if my dad knew that one of my best friends was a white guy, he'd string me up or something.
Yeah.
And then when he was coming to town, he's like, oh, I can't introduce you to him. He's like, my dad hates white people, but he hated white people because of how he said he was treated by white people in Texas.
Right.
And this is decades ago. But that
was more understandable than it is now.
Yeah. No, it is. But it is. And I got sidetracked there with that comment because it is how you are raised and I guess by experiences that you've had, right?
Correct. It is experiences and I get all that. And, and you might have gone to a school with all black people and you're white and they treated you mean or so on and so forth. And we were just talking about Cory Bush and that really, that doesn't surprise me, but we complimented her a couple weeks ago about working with Josh Hawley.
Oh, be careful about complimenting her.
I know. And I did, but we complimented her because she was helping with the clean water issue in Weldon Spring and her constituents in St. Louis City. But I'm surprised she could cross the aisle with Josh Hawley as much as she hates white people.
Well, it's because it's in her area and she needs to get what she needs to get done. It's just sad because she used the Michael Brown death to promote more hate, saying that Michael Brown died because of white supremacy.
Right.
She literally came out and said that yesterday. We all know, of course, it sparked all the riots and mass chaos in Ferguson all the way back to 2014.
Apparently, Chris is saying it, and I had heard that too. I'm going to go after the show and look at it. Apparently, her ex or her tweet really got lambasted by people who did not agree with her.
Yeah, well, she and I'm glad you brought that up. Her tweet said today is the 9th anniversary of Michael Brown's killing. Oh, okay. He would be alive today if the institutions of racism and white supremacy were eradicated. Sometimes I don't know if she's just that dumb.
I wonder if she is,
or if she's just trying to get a response, or a combination of both. But there's no doubt she's dumb. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. She tries to get a rise.
And I'm not trying to be mean. It's just quote. She goes on to tweet, "He would be alive today. We will never forget. We will continue to fight for justice and accountability." Yet she seemed to forget how he assaulted the gas station owner, how he was a thief, a robber. And then, of course, the DOJ's report that he did in fact go after Darren Wilson, not the other way around.
Correct.
Because if there was any way the Obama DOJ could have convicted or gone after Darren Wilson, they would have done it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
don't let that ever lose track of what the initial and original scorecard is.
Absolutely.
But it's also Michael Brown's dad. And I shared this on radio before. I interviewed him at the St. Louis County Courthouse in front of a group of about 100 people, where he did it was on an anniversary, I think 3 years ago, where he was so pissed off that Wesley Bell wouldn't charge Darren Wilson because Wesley Bell, in some senses, ran on that he would reopen the case. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, we're going to. No, if the Obama DOJ found there was no fault, then he did too. So I said, Mr. Brown, are you telling me that the Obama DOJ got it wrong? He's like, yes, 100%. They got it wrong. So then.
And this is the dad that never even paid any attention to his kid.
Eric Holder, black guy as well, by the way.
Yeah. It was black people that said he was innocent.
And then that message gets put out there. Oh, Michael Brown's a hero. And he's not a hero. Come on. He's not a hero. What did he do that was heroic?
Absolutely.
Darren Wilson did not make him a hero.
Yeah, he was a thug. Our listeners say he was. I'm not talking about his color, but he was a thug, white or black. If you're going to go assault a police, and then before that you're going to assault, a liquor store or whatever, you're a thug.
And Jay says he even has his own statue.
There
was nothing good going on in Michael Brown's life at the time. Not to say that he couldn't have changed it around, and color has nothing to do with it.
No.
But he's the last guy that you would have ever have called a hero. Just ask that gas station owner, that attendant.
Correct.
What a good guy Michael Brown was. What a good guy. And then for Cory Bush to bring this out and call it on white supremacy, all that does is it shows people that what he did was good. And I don't think the black community thinks that what he did was good if they actually know.
Right. If they actually knew the truth and they had common sense, and the two words is common sense, then they wouldn't believe it's true. There's plenty of common sense black people, regardless of their political persuasion. They know he was a thug. They know. The real problem in the city and in cities all across America is the ones that overcompensate for what we were talking about earlier, about they don't want to be called a racism or racist. So they will even agree with the black thug mentality so that they appear that they're virtuous and that they appear that they're not racist. And, if you go in the city, you don't see many black people right now. I've got 2 kids that live in the city. You don't see black people with the BLM signs. You see, and I'm going to say it, and it sounds mean, stupid, white, liberal households.
Yeah, because they're
have
trying.
The signs.
Yeah, because they're trying to divide.
They are. They're trying to divide, or that, what you ought to say, this sounds weird, but I think some of them actually don't like black people and they're afraid their house is going to be robbed. So they use that instead of an alarm.
Oh,
I really do.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
it might be.
You should hear them talk, and that's how they talk. Oh, well, I don't, I'm just trying to be nice here and whatever. And it's half of them don't even believe it. They just are dumb.
Well, start talking to people in money aspects if it's a bare minimum. We have the highest inflation we've ever had, thanks to Joe Biden. Joe Biden has not brought the country together. He's not brought white people and black people together. That's for sure. I don't know. Kevin says, Lizzie, you nailed it on that one. Anytime you talk race, you have to be careful because you never know what's going to happen. You never know how it's going to turn out.
Well, even right here on Facebook, and I am going to say this for a second, we say such controversial stuff when it isn't. It's just the truth in our opinion. And people have had to take their comments down. Like Jay said, oh, geez, Facebook just made him remove a comment because he talked about Ferguson.
Just now.
Our Facebook today is being censored and censored.
Well,
no, I can't say that word. Never mind.
People watch us. Let's just say that there's platforms that watch us.
Correct. The good thing is if you go back after it and listen even in audio or any of this, it does self-correct itself.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
It does. It self-corrects itself. So if you listen to the Spotify app or the Apple, whatever, you don't hear any of these glitches.
Well, we do know for a fact that there is battle fanning.
Okay, yeah, that's what we're going to call
battle
it.
Fanning that goes on with our show because there are days where people will they'll get the updates that we're on, and other days they don't.
Correct.
there's other factors that we have found out too. And it's a badge of honor.
It is a badge of honor.
It's a feather in our cap.
You betcha.
But it's sad that those kind of things happen. We're just trying to speak truth. We're trying to give every side of the story.
It proves our point at the beginning. We're not free.
Not in every case we're not.
Nope.
And it sucks. And it frustrates
suck.
me at times. Sometimes it really, 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 really frustrates me, and other times it doesn't. But I get it. I understand what's happening. And, we're just trying to get some of those stories out there because you don't need politicians race baiting at any moment. I mean, and I saw other St. Louis area politicians doing some things, posting pictures of their hero, their icon, the gentle giant.
That makes me laugh. The gentle giant.
You know what they did? And I remember when this happened too, and it frustrated me. And I remember being in the newsroom and I was looking. I always think you need to show the most recent picture of somebody. The only pictures that we had of him were when he was like 12 or 13 years
old.
Isn't
that crazy? That's because his dad, that's so concerned now, has not taken any pictures or paid attention to him until there was money involved. He wasn't even around that kid.
Well, the media, and here's the thing though, when you see, let me stop here. Robert says you have to change hearts and minds one person at a time. I agree.
I do agree, Robert. Best statement of the day.
That's a process.
Yes.
And even then, there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. You just that's why you have to be who you are all the time, and no matter what situation you're in. Paul said, remember, he was living with his grandmother. The problem is when you show pictures of a 12 and 13-year-old, and this is what media can do.
Yes.
It paints this picture. Oh, he's only 12 or 13.
Oh, poor little kid.
No, but you see that picture and then you associate that, and there's like no way that could be the same person in that video that was shown over and over again.
Yes.
So anyway, you hate to get into all of that, but it is out there. Donna says, I do find it strange that it's not cutting out anymore since I turned off my Wi-Fi.
Correct.
Then AT&T contacted me.
Isn't that? I mean, there's so much strange stuff going on.
What the hell? Explain that one to me.
Yes, that I haven't even said right now that's going on to our listeners who are trying to fight the good fight and listen through the garbage. Not us talking is garbage. I'm sure it's just delightful.
What have people had to deal with?
It's glitching. Like we don't see it on our end. Even John Rourke said we were freezing up and stuff. It's just there's a lot of stuff. John Rourke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, even said it was. And yet right now it's running clear on Rumble and it's running clear on YouTube, but Facebook is doing its thing. But, it could happen on any platform. It absolutely could. But it just shows the real warriors are really trying to speak out about what's going on. It's been a crazy week. I mean, pretty much from the middle of last week to this week, there's just a whole lot of stuff. And there's a lot of reasons it's happening. But if you listen and you get frustrated, please stay on. It keeps our algorithms up. You can switch to another platform. But I understand you wanting to be on the platform you want to be on.
Yeah. I mean, Mary says for the past 2 or 3 weeks, FB, that's our initials, stops and restarts constantly.
Yes, constantly to our listeners. It's going on there.
Kevin says, mine constantly freezes up and it's only FB.
Yes.
Sherry says, wow, video and sound just awful on mine today. It's just looping.
Yes. And it's crazy. And so there's been a lot of people switching over to Rumble the last couple weeks in and out. But I've been told, and I listened myself, if you go back, say an hour after the show, not even that long, and you put your little earphones and you go for a walk on, say, any one of the audio apps, none of this is happening. None of this.
Really? Damn, I had no idea. Did you know this? Did you know this, Joe?
I had no clue. This is the first I've heard.
And it's not a tech. That's not a tech.
No, there's no technical stuff on our end. Projo's got it going fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a live issue that someone is on there. And I don't want to say what they're doing, but that's what happens in a live version.
It's something that's happening between us and the listener.
Correct. Right. Right. It's us and a listener or two or whatever.
Oh,
we've got the spies out that they know what they're doing. They know how it makes it glitch.
But it's interesting. And then Troy just says, my FB is freezing right now.
Yes. And it's circling.
Michelle circles again.
Yes.
Sarah says, my FB freezes all the time, but I like to comment on there all the time.
Yes.
Aaron says they'll slap you with a restricted account status and then people can't see your post.
Well, and I will be more diligent and have been the last couple days.
This is interesting stuff.
Yes. When people listen after, they're still making comments. And I'm trying to go back and comment even after the show, because some people, it starts to frustrate them and they go off. And I do understand that. I hope you don't. But then they're going back and looking or switching to a different platform. But when you listen after this is not live anymore, you're not going to have the problem.
Well, Jeannie says, turn Wi-Fi off. I just did it.
Yes.
Voila.
Yes.
Is that it? And how does Wi-Fi have anything to do with the issues?
Correct.
Because Stephanie says same. It's so frustrating.
Yes.
Mary says, guess they have to keep screening what's said on the comment line or something.
But people are telling me it's apparently Spectrum and AT&T that if they, I don't know if it's any other one, but if they turn their Wi-Fi off, they're not glitching. That's another thing.
Jeff says he watches and listens on YouTube and then makes his comments on FB.
Okay. Well, that makes sense too, you guys, to listen on YouTube or Rumble, but then make your comments on Facebook, because we've got plenty of listeners on the other platform. It's just not as quite the liveliness.
What does this mean? I'm losing audio often, and I'm on Spectrum now.
Right. Yes. Spectrum and AT&T, people are saying that they're losing their audio until they turn their Wi-Fi off.
What would Wi-Fi have to do with that?
I have no idea. Somebody said maybe their Wi-Fi is getting restricted. I don't know. But there is, a lot of people don't have the wire anymore on their Wi-Fi. It's what do they call that? It's like wireless. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't know.
I just know that whenever we have really big guests or national guests who are calling out
the big stuff. Yeah.
There's issues or, you can't get on now or, and it's like.
Yeah. And we safeguarded our Friday show for sure so that we thought that wouldn't happen. But see, if you go back now and listen to our Antarctica show and you listen it on Facebook, it is cut off a little bit. But if you go to the audio or YouTube or Rumble, the show is there in its entirety.
What were you going to say, Joe?
I don't know if I want to point it out. However, we're here now. When I try to go to bordercleanup.com on this computer,
bordercleanup.com.
It goes to an AT&T screen. If I go to bordercleanup.com on my phone, it goes straight to their website.
To John Rourke's website.
Isn't that interesting?
So for some reason,
I'm curious. I'm going to text John and let him know that while you're.
Please
go ahead and share that.
I don't know what because I type in bordercleanup.com on my computer here, and it goes to an AT&T error page.
And it's interesting because Jeannie and Donna and I could go on and on. They have had absolutely zero problem now with FB since they've turned their Wi-Fi off, because people keep saying to me, Lizzie, fix this, Lizzie. And I'm like, you guys, it really isn't on our end. And I know we weren't going to be talking about this on the show. We had other things planned, but I do think we need to address it. And like Paula said, Big Brother is watching. You guys, that's the whole point of what we were saying. We're not free. Big Brother is watching. And when someone gets angry with you, and in a show like we have, people get angry. And so they I don't want to say what they do to trigger anyone, but they will then do something that gets it looked at on all platforms. And we know that Spectrum, AT&T have Big Brother watching there too. So we've got so many elements looking at us. And it's interesting, guys, go back in about an hour after the show and look on several platforms. Look on all the audio. Go to cancelthisshow.com. And then go to all the platforms. If you have time, if you don't worry about it. But go to each platform and you will see they straighten themselves out after the live show, that you don't have the glitching.
It might have been bordercleanup.com?
Yeah,
not that.
No, it's bordercleanup.com because I typed in the same web address on my phone and it goes to their website.
Mm-hmm.
However, on a PC, for some reason, it's going to an 8. And I thought I was going to pull it up during the interview with him.
Yeah.
And I was getting this error. So I thought maybe I was typing it in wrong. Well,
yeah.
Then you guys started talking about all these glitches and stuff. So I decided to revisit that.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we're still getting the error on the PC.
Mm-hmm.
However, not on
Maybe
the phone.
it's just because Wi-Fi gets clogged.
Maybe it is. Because Stephanie's saying is no buffering since turning off her Wi-Fi. And I don't know what Wi-Fi you have, Stephanie. So I don't know, but a couple people told me that if they have Spectrum, AT&T, it's buffering. But if they have the new Gateway Fiber, and what's the other one? There's another one, and a local guy. I really wanted to look into that because a local guy that's a local, quote, good politician, he's part owner in the other one, and I'm drawing a blank, and I'm going to have to think
What do
about
you mean,
what
Cloud
it is.
Hub?
No,
Oh.
there is Wi-Fi that's coming out into,
okay.
yeah, that
Aaron says NSA can hack Wi-Fi and mess with your devices.
Yeah.
Same as Ameren hacking your Wi-Fi thermostat to adjust your temperature.
Yeah.
Government control. Kathy says I've had issues for a while. Interesting though. Donna just said I'd shut off the power to my Wi-Fi, and that's when it stopped.
Yeah.
Free.
And Leona's saying it's now buffering, but I just got a couple texts saying the people, if they have Gateway Fiber, it's not doing that.
I wonder if they have something to do with 5G. I don't know.
Woo!
And Chris says I have
Ooh.
Sparklight internet, and it's doing it on mine as well.
What the hell? I mean, oh my gosh, this is just, a free-for-all Friday here on a Thursday afternoon.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it is. I mean, it just kind of came about, and that's what we're just trying to figure out why these things happen and the guests that we have. The interesting thing to me, certainly, the connect, disconnect, gain of function trial. Yeah. I hear you. And of course, Lena says now buffering. Okay. But Jay offering some advice here before we all fall off the deep end. Lag is all dependent on the server and the number of users. And then you have to factor into home connection and actual device capabilities.
He's not wrong. He's right. He is right. There's a lot of things that go into that for sure. Yeah. But isn't it interesting though? And I agree with Jay, but it's all happening all in the matter of like 1 week, basically.
You would think streaming through FB,
Mm-hmm.
it would be a pretty strong service.
Hell yes.
Yeah, it would be perfected by now as long as we've had it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is there's no doubt the battle fanning has happened to us because
for sure.
Even one of our other platforms, we were knocked off two or three different times for certain words that are said, which are silly in my opinion. It just is what it is. I wish, it would be great if we could go independent and just have our own website. And everybody just came to the website and listened to us every single day, and they knew what we were doing. Then we didn't have to worry about the bullshit of the platforms. But it is what it is.
It is what it is, because everybody likes different platforms, because they can go to cancelthisshow.com and actually see it there. But there's not, but everybody likes their platforms. There's certain platforms, and FB is where our most lively people are.
We're commenting.
Yes. After the fact.
But Rumble has been and Cloud Hub is a big spot for us too.
Yes.
And YouTube is the fastest growing.
Yes, it is. It's the fastest growing. Cloud Hub. That just shocks me how many. It's now I believe for a while it was our number one afterwards. Cloud Hub. And so all collectively, both live and after, is Cloud Hub. And it doesn't glitch. It doesn't seem, but whatever.
But once again, I'm just telling you, we know 100% sure we have done testing on this for about 6-7 months.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that we are battle fanned.
Yes.
And it's sad, but it goes to show that, hey, it's one of those things where it is what it is. We're so controversial that we get battle fanned.
Right. I just suggest everybody go over to Rumble and view us there.
Well, and if you just at least have it as a backup, because I know so many people still like FB, but if it does glitch, Rumble doesn't. I think it's only glitched once.
I don't think we've ever really had any issues.
No, I think just once we had an issue, and I think it was our ended problem. And you can have a lively chat there. We just don't have as much. People do chat, but not as lively as Facebook.
Lizzie, you want to take that question from Jessica?
Jessica says, quick question, Lizzie and Vic, do you have to look at multiple screens reading people's comments with all the platforms you're on? Yes, we do. So, because we have so many platforms going on.
No, it's all at one.
Well,
not what Lizzie does.
Not what I do. You guys have one screen to look at, but because I comment, I need several computers and phones and all that to comment.
I don't even know what you're doing over there.
Right. I mean, so Jessica, to answer your question, they look at one screen and see all of it. I have to use several computers to comment, even a phone and all that, to do all the platforms at one time. So if I'm not looking up and it looks like I'm looking down, it's not because I'm disinterested. It's because I'm trying to get all the comments answered or to be looking. So at everybody's comments, because I do care, because you are the reason that we're here as our listeners. And I know Vic and Joe feel the same way. We absolutely love the live interaction, and we appreciate people who listen after the fact, but we care what you're saying, and we want to talk about what you're interested in. So I definitely look at it the whole show and after the show.
And after the show, you have your own battle station. That was a great comment.
Yeah.
I just saw that came down too.
I do. I do have a battle station.
Yes, Rumble is censorship free.
Yes.
There's also several shows there as well. That's why we say like, subscribe on all the platforms.
Yes.
Send a high five, a thumbs up, whatever. It just helps how these all work together.
Correct.
But we have been battle fans. I'll say it again. And I'm like, little old us. Why does everybody care so much about us? Why do people keep coming after us?
Right. We got an efforted
we just continue
regime
to go
going after
and
us.
grow and do everything we possibly can to put the information out there for all of you guys. Speaking of which, one of our viewers sent me, and I know you're going to say, yes, we knew this, but my God, wait until you hear the sound. I'm trying to decide when we're going to do this. I spent 20 minutes listening to a doctor, and it's all about the cupcake now and how people are damaged.
Yes.
And how no coverage is being done. And it also breaks down the history of what the coronavirus was.
Yes.
And how it began, and how there's federal government documents that it's all laid out, but nobody talks about it nationally. So I watched the 20-minute video and I was like, oh my God. So I did my own report on it, and this sound is going to blow everybody's mind, absolutely blow people's mind. Doctor, and he is phenomenal. And the reason people may not know about him is because of how just direct he is. Dr. Martin is his name, and Dr. David Martin. And it is phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal. These hearings were taking place across seas, not in America. And that's why it's probably not getting covered. But just wait until you see the history, the federal documents, how everything, what years everything was done, how Fauci was involved in signing things off. This goes all the way back to the mid 2000s. Just will blow your mind. So anyway, I was like, my Lord. I watched 20 minutes and it went by just like that. But we will be getting into that tomorrow. Still putting final touches on our Free for All Friday show tomorrow as well. Joe sent a pretty good website. I was checking it out, our YouTube site. I was checking it out. I was like, I could have been there all day, but I'm so damn busy doing everything that we're doing. By the way, if you can, did you try to go to John's website again? Bordercleanup.com. I'm going to try it right now. Let me try to see if that's taking us to a wrong site.
Gonna go to it and see it. John, he is so interesting.
Yeah, on this Mac PC, it goes to an error occurred while processing your request, and then it gives a reference number.
Okay, but it works on your phone if you go to bordercleanup.com and it works on the phone?
If I type in bordercleanup.com, it goes, it forwards to the actual site or whatever. It's a GoFundMe or something.
And that's what it probably should be.
Right. But that's that's where it's supposed to go.
So weird.
Well, it's wefundtheblue.com. It's apparently a sub. Yeah. Anyway,
same thing happened for me.
Yeah,
on my laptop, and then my phone. It worked on my phone.
Yep.
Why?
So weird.
Why is that?
I don't know. That is definitely a good question.
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
Jessica says 8 people have coincidentally come down with life-threatening diseases since the beginning of this year.
Isn't that interesting, Jessica?
It's also interesting how the coronavirus and the research that was done, and then what government, and I know I'm just giving you a tidbit, signed off on when it was completed, happened the year before SARS.
Yes.
In regards to it being used as a bioweapon.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just cray. Kathy says I got it on my phone. Jay says it's likely just a coding issue.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, no,
it very well could be.
But yeah, it worked on my phone too.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then Sarah says, Vic, he's awesome. His videos are backed with all the research. He has been vocal since the beginning. No doubt. I just came across him yesterday and watched the 20-minute video. And I'm like, I can't believe the guy's still alive.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised.
But we're going to break that sound down for you too. So, I mean, we'll do probably sometime next week. It's just fascinating. All of the crap that's going on. It is. But anyway, we're grateful for everybody jumping in for the show today. Cancelthisshow.com. We'll have a fun show tomorrow in the 8 o'clock hour. We'll have Curtis Barks in from Complete Auto Body. If you love us, love Curtis and his crew.
Oh, I love that
show
man.
sponsor, making things happen. If you love us, support these people who are supporting us. It helps us. And if you know of anybody else that wants to get involved with what we're doing, please do that. I am grateful. Anytime, any support that can be thrown our way, we appreciate it. That's for sure. And if you have any other ideas of people, let us know. Let us know from that standpoint. Anything else? Did we leave anything out?
I think we covered even more than we intended to.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. Well, let's call it a day then, guys. That does it for this August 10th podcast. Have an amazing day. For Pro Joe and Lizzie Sparks, I'm Vic Faust. We'll see you for our next show. See you later, guys.